Good morning, Chairman Sessions, Ranking Member Mfume, and members of the subcommittee. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of today's hearing and to help shed light on what can be done about the longstanding and pervasive issue of improper payments and fraud in the federal government. Whether it involves an established program or one created to respond to an emergency, improper payments and fraud erode the public trust and results in hundreds of billions of dollars lost. Since 2003, agencies have estimated $2.7 trillion of payments were improper. In April, GAO also developed the first government-wide estimate of fraud. We estimate, based on 2018 through 2022 data, that the federal government has lost between $233 and $531 billion annually. While my written statement covers GAO's wide body of work related to improper payments and fraud, I will focus on ways agencies can better prevent improper payments and fraud. First, consistent with GAO's 2015 Fraud Management Framework, which has been codified by the Payment Integrity and Information Act and OMB guidance, agencies must commit to establishing an organizational culture dedicated to and conducive to fraud risk management. To do this, agencies must first recognize and acknowledge their fraud risk, and I can't stress that point enough. Agencies at times view anti-fraud controls being at odds with their mission to support their intended beneficiaries. However, these are not opposing goals. Any dollar that is improperly paid or defrauded results in one less dollar going to an eligible beneficiary or for another beneficial program purpose. Next, agencies must assess the extent of their unique fraud risks. This involves assessing fraud risk to determine their fraud risk profile, including fully considering the specific fraud risks faced, analyzing the potential likelihood and impact of fraud schemes, and documenting prioritized fraud risks, and determining their risk tolerance. After that, they need to design and implement a strategy with specific controls to mitigate, assess fraud risks, and collaborate with internal and external stakeholders to help ensure effective implementation. And finally, agencies must evolve and adapt. This includes evaluating outcomes of their efforts using a risk-based approach and adapting activities to improve their fraud risk management. It is also important to realize that this is a journey, and it requires regularly assessing the threat landscape and adjusting as the threat environment changes and the types of fraud being perpetrated evolve. The fraudsters never sleep, and federal agencies can't either. This focus on fraud risk management also aligns with other actions agencies can take to prevent improper payments that may not be fraudulent. For example, agencies' focus on front-end controls is critical for preventing improper payments, especially in emergency situations when money needs to be moved out the door quickly. In closing, I will also note the important role that Congress can play in addressing improper payments and fraud. In addition to dozens of recommendations to agencies to address their individual programs, we have also identified numerous legislative actions that Congress could take to strengthen payment integrity related to transparency, accountability, and oversight of improper payments and fraud. Through hearings and other oversight tools, Congress could also hold agencies accountable for putting needed safeguards in place to protect federal dollars. As always, we stand ready to help Congress carry out this oversight and advance the fight against fraud and improper payments. This concludes my opening statement, and I would be happy to answer any questions at the appropriate time. Thank you.